Hi guys, welcome to my servant review for the 5-star servant, that is Francis Drake, Rider Class Servant. So, I just got her recently, but she's been released in Okeanos. Ever since you complete Okeanos, she will then become available in the story summon. Funny story to her is I actually managed to get her on a YOLO roll, which was a summoning ticket during the Christmas event in which Jack was rated up. I wanted Jack, but you know, Francis Drake is also welcome. So, yeah. So the little trivia about Francis Drake, she's an English pirate who went around sailing and actually stopped, or was rather part of the Age of Conquest, and she was probably one of the reasons why, well, the Spanish had a hard time. But like, all, or maybe majority, rather, of the FGO characters, well, let's say she did start female. In fact, realistically speaking, just to keep everybody's feet on the ground, she was male. I'll have a picture in a bit. Wait a few moments. Boom. As you see, as a rider class, Francis Drake has a high affinity towards caster class servants. But again, Francis Drake has other uses. For example, one of her skills is Voyager of the Storm, which is, it increases NP strength and attack for all allies, though it only lasts for one turn. There's also Golden Rule, which focuses on her NP gain, which for 3 turns. And there's Pioneer of the Stars at level 4, which increases your NP gauge and applies Ignore Invincible and gains critical stars. This makes her pretty ideal against servants who have Invincible like Marie Antoinette. So I'll show you in a bit. So, oh well, I don't have any for that. And of course, we have a guest servant for today, Skaha, belonging to my support. Okay, so there. Now that I have her, I can activate this. Golden Rule is purely focused on her, which is okay. She has a lot of buster cards, which makes her pretty good on base damage, but charging her NP can be annoying. That's why it's good if you have the NP gain at a high level, or you run the Mage Association Mystic Code, which will really help her in charging her NP. My usual trouble with Francis Drake is, yeah, one is charging her NP quickly, unless you run her with an arts servant like Elizabeth Bathory Caster, or even Jean d'Arc to help pump it up. Here, in this case, she has an advantage, though my other servants wouldn't, but that's okay. They're not the star for tonight, she is. So, there we go, and she's now at 100%. Okay, now, it's gonna be a waste of NP if I use it now, so I'll use it later, if you guys don't mind. So yeah, what I like about Francis Drake really is her flexibility as a servant. As a rider class, she has a buster NP, which is quite rare among the rider class servants. And at the same time, she can also play support in terms of NP strength. My normal combination for her would be running Elizabeth Bathory Halloween, which is good for her to run with because she has Mana Burst and she can buff the NP of that. And Altera, who can pair with Tactics. Okay, here we go. So, I'm gonna show you how painful she can be. So first, Voyager of the Storm. Voyager of the Storm, like I said, increases NP damage. And, well, while this isn't really useful, the critical stars will come in handy, especially since you have 2 Lancers. You have Kohulin over here, who has Quick, and Skaha herself, who also relies on critical damage. So let's begin. Let's see. First. Second. This way, I make use of that 100% that's sitting in her, well, in her back. There we go. Obviously, she may have a hard time against the archer class, but I'm joking, she didn't have a hard time. So, there you have it, that's her in battle. I'll also discuss her weaknesses to some extent. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Okay, so in terms of weakness, Francis Drake has a couple of them, actually. One is that, well, for a rider, she has a really bad affinity towards assassin class servants, as it's part of the game mechanic, of course. She can easily be taken down by servants that specialize in female killing. For example, Stenos for males, I'm sorry. Particularly Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper's Maria the Ripper, Noble Phantasm can deal heavy damage towards females. It's how I managed to survive the Christmas event when majority of the enemies there were female. So, yeah. The fact that even though Francis Drake has a big HP, Jack the Ripper is known for burst damage. Her burst damage, even on quick cards, can already hit like 20k if leveled right. And if they're on the same level, she'll probably turn Francis Drake into mincemeat, which is really not good, and makes Francis Drake a little useless. Assassin class enemies also may have an advantage, especially since they have a higher critical rate than most enemies. Rider and assassin class enemies in particular can deal heavier damage towards Francis Drake because critical damage, which she seemingly has a low defense towards, and the fact that her HP is kinda low. Also, her attack might sometimes be lacking. Unless she has critical hits, which her Pioneer of the Stars can cover, though it's only for one turn that it has a bit of a cooldown, then you're gonna have problems. So, if not paired with a servant that can defend her properly, she'll definitely fall short on, let's say, trying to keep herself alive. Majority of her skills are offense-based, making her relatively soft compared to most servants like Giorgio's or Mash. But Giorgio's and Mash are definitely defense-based. But take another rider class servant like Maria Antoinette. Maria Antoinette, despite everything, she has Beautiful Princess, which gives her invincibility, allowing her to sustain longer in battle. For Francis Drake, she doesn't have any healing skills, so she has to rely purely on the Mystic Codes or another servant that heals, like Tamamo Mamae, Caster, or Jean d'Arc, or even Jack the Ripper has a healing skill. Who has a healing skill? Saint Martha has a healing skill. So, yeah. So there you pretty much have it, her weaknesses in terms of, resilience and resistance in combat. So for craft essence, Francis Drake has several possible combinations. My particular favorite combination would be Halloween Princess, which increases her NP strength by 15% while giving her upstart of 30%. This actually makes her pretty useful and makes her an MP build, considering that Voyager of the Storm and Pioneer of the Stars, if you guys remember correctly, that was shown earlier in the video, are NP focus. Because of that, she can probably hit harder, and if you use Golden Rule, she can probably hit Golden Wild Hunt twice. And this makes her pretty ideal for farming, especially since if you're fighting, let's say, caster enemies. Yes, I'm looking at you, caster training ground with all the serpent jewels. She's quite useful. Another particular card also would be Verdant Son of Destruction. This is for Buster card effectiveness. Though she only has 2 Buster cards, this would also increase the power for NP by 20%. And which is pretty cool, especially since that she can pretty much tear a hole through a boss, even though it's kind of sad since it's multi-hit. Another card, well, Kaleidoscope is always useful at 80%. She can do Golden Wild Hunt twice in one battle. There's also Prisma Cosmos, which increases NP gauge by 8%. This allows her to charge her NP much faster, making her quite powerful in battle. So, yeah, that's... Although there are some others that make her strong. I haven't found... Probably I don't have the craft essence yet, but... there are other combinations, but most of the time I use that kind of build for Francis Drake. In terms of allies, one of her ideal allies would be Altera. Well, for me, anyway, it's a personal opinion. Altera's tactics hurt really bad, and especially if paired with Photon Ray and Elizabeth Battery, Halloween's Battery Erzezabeth. Sorry, I don't particularly memorize it. I'm just gonna call it Elizabeth Battery Halloween's Noble Phantasm. So the combination would be Altera hitting first with Tactics and Crest of the Star completely activated with Francis Drake, Voyager of the Storm, and Voyager of the Storm only activated. So that's already 2 NP focus buffs plus attack buff. So with that, then you also have Mana Burst for Elizabeth Battery Caster. So combination would be Altera first, opening with Photon Ray, reduced defense, plus Francis Drake, opening with Golden Wild Hunt. Doing so increases the number of critical stars, which will come in handy later. And then, since Elizabeth Battery Halloween is a level 5 NP, she can hit as high as 300% or 400%. I've hit 400% before with her, allowing her to deal more damage. If the boss still makes it, or the enemies are still alive for some stupid reason, that's why Golden Wild Hunt was placed as the second Noble Phantasm, because that means the amount of critical stars increased because of the overcharge effect, which I plan to take advantage of with Francis Drake. Well, there you have it. So that's my servant review on Francis Drake. Hope you enjoyed. I'll be also covering the other servants, especially those that are easier to get so that people have a better way of using them. I mean, some of these servants are quite neglected, which is kind of sad because some of them actually have pretty good effects. So, don't forget to stay tuned for this channel for more servant reviews and definitely more rock and rollin' walkthroughs, especially since Saber Wars is coming up. So, don't forget, check my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. This is Catherine Baskerville, now signing out.